The McCartney alphabet, Part 2.
So, how do you feel about I'll Give You a Ring?
You look a little lonely, maybe I can reach you. Tell me where to reach you, and I'll give you a ring. I take you to the pictures, I miss the second feature. Lord, I can't believe my eyes, I must be dreaming. Give me your number, I'll give you a ring. You look a little hungry, maybe I could take you. Tell me when to wake you, and I'll give you a ring. I take you to the restaurant, we're looking at the menu. Lord, I can't believe my eyes, I must be dreaming. Give me your number, I'll give you a ring. Oh man, I know I won't be lonely anymore. Me and my phone, we're gonna call your home. I won't be lonely anymore.
Well, this is another one that if you don't like Paul McCartney,
I know where you're going to
you
go
won't
with
like this is like playing into him doing his, Maxwell Silverhammer styley thing.
Yeah, or that 1920s kind of honey pie-esque, that kind
Absolutely, yeah. But if you do like him, you have a soft spot for these things that because a song like this could only really come from him. It's one of those things where you just go, that is, if you got AI to generate, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A Paul,
That's good.
your sort of Paul McCartney song of this sort, it would just, and this is no disservice to this song. It would spew out something like this.
No.
So it's a B-side. It was released in 1982. It was the B-side to Take It Away. Although it was a song that had been around for at least coming up for 10 years before that, because he demoed it during the early Wing days, and also it features in a lovely little bit in the One Hand Clapping documentary in 1974, where he plays a few sort of cabaret style songs.
Uh-huh.
It's produced by him and George Martin, and I think that's quite evident because like this, and again, like linking, like you say, to the honey pie styley stuff, it's got like a really nice clarinet arrangement that's quite subtle in there that is a very George Martin thing, a bit like When I'm 64 in many ways.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I wrote down, it's like a soap opera played at speed. You've got the meeting you, the reaching you, give you a ring to arrange that date, going to the pictures, missing the second feature, you're going on this sort of very specific date, then you're at a restaurant, you're at a meal, then it links to the, I'll give you a ring, meaning the wedding ring, and it shifts to a different place.
Yeah.
So it really tells a nice story, and I know it's cheesy, and I know it's sort of playful.
That's the point, though, isn't it?
I love it for that. I think because when I was one of the weird people for my age, a bit like you really, and I was into this stuff when I was a kid, when other people were listening to what was going on then. But when I was a kid, I remember listening to this song a lot, really liking it. It's a really good B-side. It's got that sort of a bit sort of Sea Moon style, like reggae thing, almost thing. It's like a little vocal trick. He's playing with the sort of rhythm and stuff. But, it's mostly just him on it, and Paul and Linda and Eric Stewart doing the backing vocals. But like I say, if you don't like Paul McCartney, this will irritate the hell out of you. It's just so him. You know what I mean? It's just such a part of him that no one else does, really.
Yeah, and it's that his vocals are very much in that style of, that jokey, almost storyteller style that he clearly loves doing that sort of thing, and he does it really well.
And it comes from that, I look a little lonely. He's just playing with a way of singing the thing, and it just, it's great, and it's clever in its own way, because the sort of, like I say, I'll give you a ring, meaning the phone call initially for the date.
that double meaning.
And then want to go to bed, dear? Tell me we can wed, dear. I'll give you a ring. Take you to the chapel. Looking at the, it's just it tells the story really quickly and really nicely, and it's very simple, but it also is quite clever. I know I won't be lonely anymore. I really like that bit as well. So it's him playing around at a piano, doing the sort of like I say, Maxwell Silverhammer, or the When I'm 64. It's got that cabaret feel to it. But yeah, it could not come from anyone else. And it, you know, it's again like the polar opposite of the song we were just talking about. But I really like it. How about you? I mean, I know you've said you like it, but what's your feelings?
Yeah, no, I do. It is that epitome of that sort of playful storytelling, a little bit tongue in cheek. Like, I think he's completely aware that he's doing that.
Of course.
And that you know, the other members of the Beatles always took the piss, and he did it anyway. And I think he's still going to carry on doing that.
Yeah. I respect him
because he likes it. Yeah, I really respect it. And it's probably one of these songs I wouldn't have paid much attention to on first listen, and then on listening, you know, again and subsequent listens, you kind of go, oh, there he is doing that.
Absolutely.
But in a endearing. And I don't say that in a sort of patronising way. I think it's very good. I like that. I like Honey Pie, and I like all of those sort of. I mean, I might not draw the line. Obla di Obla da is a little bit too much in that. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, you know, we've talked before about, and I think we talked about this when we were talking about Now and Then, but how we felt about when, like, Giles Martin does the remixes of the Beatles stuff. Weirdly, I don't even know why, but when I'd heard the remixed version of Obla Di Obla Da, I liked it more. It had more, you know, it's got that fun sort of ska feel to it. If it's done right and it's got a bit of drive.
Yeah, the only thing I don't really like about that song is the chorus. I quite like, again, the storytelling.
Yeah.
This is, you know, Desmond and... I can't remember her name now, but
Molly.
I like, Molly, Desmond and Molly. I like hearing someone's life story in, 3 minutes or whatever. I do like that.
And that's just always been. Yeah. That's always been what he's done. And this is actually, when you think about it, this is very like that, isn't it? Because it's straight into a story of two people. It's just a bit silly, but it's really tight as well. And I've played it on the piano before. I learned it, and it's fun to play as well. It's one of those things that, you know, you kind of shouldn't play much, but you play it and go, oh, this is, I can get it. I can get why he gets into that. You know, it's just something he does, you know, and it's a little exercise. And yeah, like I say, I don't know, it's very easy, isn't it? It's like even with Maxwell's Silver Hammer, and people forget with that one how dark it is. It's a, you know, it's a like fun song about a mass murderer. You know, killing someone with with a hammer, obviously. But it's still good. It's still effortless in what it does, and a word we use a lot. But it's a good exercise in telling a story. And he's always like doing that. And that is something where he differs a lot from George and John, maybe. But it's become the accepted story that's the thing that makes him not as good. You know, because
but then, you know, you look at Penny Lane, and that is just as much a classic to me as Strawberry Fields Forever, you know, or whatever.
Absolutely.
And they're similar, but play into each other's strengths.
Yeah, and like She's Leaving Home is a song that...
I love it, yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? That manages to really connect with the story in a way that is just so affecting. This is obviously a much more sort of silly, like a little game that he's playing. But it's great, and as I say, no one else could do that way. You know, it's like English Tea. It's like all those sort of things. You know, they can sail in and out of being close to the point of being a bit cheesy, but he's doing it knowingly, like in English Tea, very twee, very me. He knows what he's doing. He's not an idiot. When he does Kisses in the Blossom, as we said before, he knows what that sounds like, but he doesn't care. Like you say, he'll do it anyway. And I think that's great, really. It's quite archaic now, this song, though, because you've got the whole, like, you've got the feeling of like the one phone in the house, in the hallway. And you know, in the two films, missing the second feature. It's all things that kids now would have. What? Do you mean second feature? You know, I mean, that predates us, but yeah, it is. But I quite like that, you know, and it's good. It's one I turn to a lot if I fancy something a bit different to hear. You know, it's good. We like it. You know, if you didn't like this sort of song, you probably wouldn't listen to a Paul McCartney podcast.
No, true.
Is my thinking. We're now at a key point, Clary. I'm moving over from my first Paul McCartney McAlphabet pad to a second one. That's what I'm doing. I'm showing it up to the camera. It's purple. Hasn't got the wings stickers on it yet. But we move over to this for, it's going to be as much a surprise to me as it's to you, number 6 in our selection. And this is I Do.
If you only knew how much it meant to me, you'd understand, and I would feel love was true. This is all I want. This is all I need. This is all I long for. I do. Just remember this, after a time is through, and nevermore will there be days for me and you.
I do. Which is a nice segue, which I didn't even consider after the sermon in the chapel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like we planned it, which we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't at all.
Yeah.
So I like the mix of songs. I like the selection, and I like that we've got one in there from Driving Rain, which is Macca's 2001 solo album. The album that I know we've discussed probably on mic on previous episodes, but certainly off mic while talking about the Take It Away podcast. I know they sort of quite heavily slated more the fact that it felt like a tired, rushed attempt to get an album out when his vocals weren't really there and he did it anyway. That stubborn thing, isn't it? Like we're talking about the sort of 3-hour gigs following a 1-hour sound check with no water.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, I try not to focus on that because, again, I want the songs to sort of speak for themselves. And I really like the album for the most part. The weaker points for me are things like the title track. I think the sort of the counting in that is a bit cringe.
Yeah, that's maybe a step too far. It's a bit altogether now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which, Which, to be fair, we use at the beginning of every one of our episodes. But aside from that, as a device, we don't particularly like it, I would say.
But I do is certainly, I'm going to use that word crafted again, but a very beautifully crafted song produced by Paul McCartney himself with producer David
Kane, isn't it? Or
David Kane. Yeah. Yes, that's right. David Kane. And I love the production on it. I love the way it sounds. I love those tender moments.
Yeah.
It feels quite dramatic, sort of instrumentation wise. It feels, the
it's got the like sampled timpani, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bum, bum. It's a bit Black Beauty.
But I quite like that. I like it's a nice balance between sort of a bombastic kind of elements and more tender moments, I think. And
it's probably a bit similar, in fact, because he also produced Memory Almost Full. But if you think of some of the instrumentation on Mr. Bellamy, it's got that slight degree of sort of sampled directness thing, isn't it? It's obviously a very David Kane thing. But yeah, no, I like it. It's a nice little exercise in that, I think.
Yeah, and I think like a little undercurrent of melancholy through it. It doesn't feel like a sort of just another tender Paul McCartney ballad, tender and sweet. And I don't know if that's because vocally he wasn't quite up to his normal standard.
Yeah.
It's that vulnerability, and I don't know if it's vocally vulnerable, but it kind of reminded me of what we said about the first track, I Don't Know, from Egypt Station. Yeah, I'd say out of the ones we've discussed so far, this might not be my favourite.
Yeah.
But I like it again. I like it. It's doing what he does best. It is a love ballad at the end of the day. It's, it might not be the best one he's ever done. I think it makes it more interesting that he's got that kind of a little bit of a tension release thing going on. The way the music kind of complements the melody singing. Maybe
the vulnerability thing. It's because what she sort of says, it's like an "if you only knew" song. If you only knew how much I felt for you. It's and also I think, like you're saying about the voice thing, the way he does the up the octave thing.
I love that.
Yeah, it's intimate, isn't it? Again, it's an honesty, whether that's partly a device or partly just how his voice was. And he did say, I mean, he says that the same thing. He does it with a couple of songs on that album. He does it with Your Way as well. But it was a last minute idea to go up the octave from down the octave. Yeah. But it does give it a moment, and it does. In fact, it reminded me a little bit because he talked about like the little catch in his voice as he chooses to do that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like, but not as extreme. And this is another song I like as well, apart from maybe one lyric. But The Other Me from Pipes of Peace. It's got that sort of using the voice in a way, almost like a rhythmic. And the nice sort of unresolved, if you only knew at the end as well and at the beginning. It's kind of quite jazzy, isn't it, in its own way? It's fun, like you say, about the sort of arrangement. In some ways, I like the sort of sample thing, but in other ways, I kind of wish it was real instruments, because it is the thing that, he talked about. Apparently, David Kane has this, I forget where it is, I've got it written down somewhere, but like system with loads and loads of orchestral samples. I don't think they're trying to sound real. I think it's purposeful.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I think I'd prefer it if it was real. I don't know. But that's just a taste thing, I think.
They go in for a sort of obvious vibe. They're not trying to just be lazy and trick us into thinking.
Yeah. Which is like a bit like Mr. Bellamy, isn't it? It's the same sort of thing where it uses those sort of sounds. I think the only bit that's kind of a shame for me is I think the middle eight starts really nice with the days go by so quickly when you're having fun. But what is it? Life is never easy, even in the sun. I just think... just a bit blur. What is good about his voice at this point is when he's doing the down the octave stuff, it has a real warmth, doesn't it? It has a real sort of, again, a very Paul McCartney thing. There's something very like signature of that. And I like it when he uses his lower voice, because obviously for someone with such a big range, the things where he does sit into a more sort of soulful thing, I really like. But yeah, I just think that lyric kind of bothers me a little bit. But yeah, it's a good song on that album, and it's one that like you say, it's probably my least favorite of the ones we're doing today, but that's not to say that I don't like it and I wasn't pleased that we put it in. It's a good one from that album, and another sort of grower, I think. And again, a lot happens because it's just under 3 minutes apparently. I was just looking at my notes.
It's a good palate cleanser on an album of some hit and miss songs. I think it's a long album, isn't it? I think that's the thing. It could do a few things could have gone, but it's a good solid song on there. And I think it's like an exercise, isn't it? It feels more like an exercise in writing that sort of song, but not in a bad way, not in a really contrived, horrible way. It's got a nice feel to it. So I think that's basically I Do. I mean, I think the fact that we've probably had the least to say about that one just speaks to the fact that it pales in comparison to the quality of the high quality of the others. That's all, rather than sort of the song itself.
Exactly. And if you're up against I'm Carrying, as we've said, that's quite a high bar.
But that's not to say the next song is going to be the same. And also, it's the first song that we've come to that isn't an I song. Well, it is, because it does start with I, but
but I hadn't noticed that. Actually, they're all I or I'm, aren't they? So that's true. Good point.
And this one is In a Hurry.
2, 3, 4. She was always in a hurry, never took the time to look around. She was always one to worry and fret, staring at the ground. Every minute she'd be rushing, someone always breathing down her neck. Felt like everyone was pushing her down, keeping her in check. How could she leave? She's gotta stay. Somebody has to sit and wait. Deep in a dream, she is a voice. It's not too late to celebrate. Uncontrollable laughter. Not too late to celebrate. Round and round in her head. No one said you got to run. This is what she was after. Not too late to celebrate. Not too late. Not too late. It's never too late to celebrate. No one said you gotta wait. Allow me to congratulate you, baby. It's never too late to celebrate. No one said you had to wait. Allow me to congratulate you, baby.
Yes, so In a Hurry, this was released in 2019. It came from the sessions of Egypt Station, produced with Greg Kurstin, so the guy who produced the majority of that album, apart from the songs that maybe a few fans would question, more like For You and stuff, which was not with him. It was likely recorded in LA, in the studios there, and it was released as a double A-side with another song that I do really like as well, which is a bit throwaway, but also fun, Home Tonight, in 2019. So it was released as a double A-side with that for Record Store Day again. So, I think that's put out especially on vinyl for the people that collect vinyl on that day, and released as a digital double A-side in November 2019 as well. The artwork of this single is worth having a look at as well. It's based on the game Exquisite Corpse, which is quite a name for a game. I don't know, which I didn't know the name. I think I had heard it before. But the thing where you draw the top of a person and then you fold the paper over and hand it to someone else and do the next bit. The artwork is like a circular version of that, which is obviously his artwork, or certainly him with someone else. Yeah, and so this one, I mean, why this didn't end up on Egypt Station when things like Caesar Rock.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And even like Who Cares, which I think is there because it's got a nice message. Who cares? I do. But it's a bit throwaway. And then you got this, which is like, it starts like some sort of Sgt. Pepper outtake, doesn't it? With the, and I mean in a good way, or like Brian Wilson. It's got that. It's very like, actually, I hadn't thought of it before, but A Friend Like You, the song that Paul did with Brian Wilson, but with the the harpsichord and the bass doing all that ridiculous flamboyant stuff at the beginning, telling a story again. And then it goes into a sort of more modern section. It's got very much got a feel, and various people have said this, but it's a bit like Another Day. It's that story of a woman that's in a rush doing her thing, not secure in her environment. She was always in a hurry, never took the time to look around. She was always one to worry and fret, staring at the ground. Every minute she'd be rushing, someone always breathing down her neck. Felt like everyone was pushing her down, keeping her in check. So it's got that every day she takes a morning bath, she wets her hair. It's got that feeling, isn't it? And then the shift is deep in a dream, she hears a voice. It's like another version of I Don't Know in a way, which is maybe why they didn't include it.
Maybe.
But then it's so musically interesting. You know what I mean? It's like,
it is.
It's really, intricate. And as I say, the bass playing is lovely. It's very sort of Pepper with the harpsichord and the cello.
It is
figure and
really,
stuff.
yeah, definitely.
But with also a modern take as well, though, doesn't it? It doesn't just feel like a sort of exercise in trying to recreate that, because the whole Never Too Late to Celebrate, all that sort of stuff, there's a lot going on, isn't there? It's you don't put this on the album, but you put on Caesar Rock, which I want to go on record and say it's a pile of shit.
Yeah.
It's just so, you go, what? And I know he's got a history of not necessarily choosing the best songs. And also, just before we get to taking the song apart, this is another bugbear, which was for fans. So he released the album Egypt Station in 2018. And there was like a deluxe version, which had 2 extra songs on it, Get Started and Nothing for Free, which are 2 of the Ryan Tedder songs, which are good. I quite like them. Oh, Get Started, I think, was actually Greg Kurstin. Then the year after, he released the Traveller's edition of that album, which came in like a suitcase. So like, paper. I don't know if have you seen it? With like lots of like I don't know, like little art, like a little ticket, like a train ticket and stuff. Yeah. There are only 3,000 of these made. And it sold for about $1,000, which had extra songs on it. So it had the album, it had Get Started, Nothing for Free, it had 62nd Street, Frank Sinatra's Party, and an extended version of Who Cares. So people bought that the next year going, I will pay the money because it's the only chance I get to get those songs. It had some live ones as well. Then the following March, he released the Explorers edition on CD. Which had all of that, and Home Tonight and In a Hurry, which was a single that was released separately and held back from the album. So you buy these things going, do you know what I mean? I'm paying extra money for a deluxe version of this album to get all the songs. And then a year later, you release another version with more songs that's cheaper. It just starts to, and you've given no indication. If you said like, we're going to release this now as a special limited edition thing, but there'll be the other stuff later, it just feels a bit like a money grab. Do you know what I mean? It's just a bit unfortunate, really.
It does. Or is he just a shrewd businessman? And
well,
which
it's been said,
fine.
And it is, and he's got to. Well, I mean, so he's got to earn a living. He's certainly earning a living, but then that's not to say. And to be fair, people do often say. I've read things like about the Now and Then thing, saying, "Oh, it's just for money." And it's like, well, to be fair, it is all for money because it's his job. It's in the same way that you pay for food and stuff, he does. It's his job. It's always been to make money. I just think it's a bit unfair when you sort of, get the fans who love you and then say, pay $1,000. I mean, I wouldn't pay $1,000 for I think he liked the idea of having lots of little treats, like Sergeant Pepper again, having all the little inserts.
I was sort of thinking this with I'm sort of slightly going off on a tangent, but as you know, I'm a big Kylie Minogue fan, and
Yes.
just to plug my book,
Written a
which
book.
is coming
Written a
out.
book, yeah.
Yes, coming out in June, end of June. Kylie
Exciting.
Minogue album by album. Stick or Twist is the title.
And then a month later, I'm releasing one about Jason Donovan. So I'm not.
I finished this book a year ago, last April. I got it in.
Yeah.
Actually, it was supposed to be in the 31st of March, and I ended up going like way into midnight the next day. So I got it in the 1st of April.
Right.
And then she released her 16th studio album, Tension. So I got in touch with the publishers and said, I want it to be up to date. Okay, they said, yeah, we want it to be up to date. So a little bit of time to sit with that album, and saw a couple of live shows. And then she's doing all this one-off stuff. She's did a sort of a one-off single with Sia. She's played a gig in London called Money Can't Buy, which is essentially money can't buy you this ticket because it's for VIPs and fans that have won competitions or whatever. She did it back in 2003 as a sort of promo for her album then Body Language. She's done it this time as a promo for Tension.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of a chapter on that as well. But then while all this has happened, all these other things have been announced. I mean, great. I want to be up to date. So it's just now, like probably, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, the final version being sent into the editor. Bear in mind that this book is still, if you go on sort of Amazon, booked to be released, able to purchase now, and it will be with you in 21st of June or whatever. I'm thinking, bloody hell, how's the editor going to get through all this?
God, yeah.
And the same sort of thing. There's like the disco album has then got disco guest list edition, which has got sort of collaborations with Gloria Gaynor and various artists like that. And that's great to get all that material. And then you've got the sort of vinyl disco extended mixes.
Which I bought for my wife, who's a big Kylie fan. I bought her specifically that. So yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, just for the record, you're not my wife, in case people are piecing that together and thinking. It's a coincidence.
It is a coincidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just a long-winded way of saying you kind of do that because you want this material. I think my wife has just bought me the Tension extended mixes vinyl, which is great. Again, you want the collection to be complete. I want to sort of cover these various things in the book as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it got to the point where I ended the book just talking about what I use that phrase, shrewd businesswoman she is. And a lot of that does feel like the whole Vegas residency, the money for those. I mean, I'm going to get into this kind of money for tickets now. And you've got that similar sort of thing. Do you get the golden circle? Do you get the meet and greet? Do you get the VIP? And that's not just Kylie. I'm sure Macca does something similar.
Plus, you're often doing that at speed because you've got like 3 minutes to say whether you want to book that one, and you're like, but I would love to meet Kylie Minogue. I'd love to. Oh, sod it, I'll pay it. Yeah, so there is a lot of that.
Like
definitely.
you said, it is a cash grab. It's their job. If someone sort of said to us, do you want to be paid triple for that? You're not going to go, well, no, because that's greedy.
Well, yeah. And also because the way the industry's changed means that, live events, these sort of things are the way they do make money, or merchandise is how they make money, because with the nature of streaming and the like, the more you actually have specific product that's physical product that can make you money, you would do it. And at what point did they suddenly become people that you go, well, no, they shouldn't be making money.
Yeah.
It's a shame when it all seems to fall on the fans, but then I suppose it would by its very nature. Yeah, if there was just a little bit more, maybe honesty about what's coming when, it would help. But yeah, and then I forgot there's another song with this. There was the single that released like at the beginning of the year, I think it was 2019 again, Get Enough, which was quite a good, you might not remember it from the name, but like, again, a Ryan Tedder one that's quite affecting in its own way. So there was a lot, I like the creativity, and I think like with Paul and probably like with Kylie, they do think like fans too. They know that fans like the intricacies, the things to look at, the things that are tangible. which is what like the double. I would actually really like to have the double A-side single of this because it's two really good songs in a nice sort of format. I think again it was limited edition, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, like you say, like Kylie, they're good. They're good business people. They know what they're doing to prolong what they can do.
And there's also that thing of being of a certain age that they're not going to be getting the streaming success.
No.
I mean, I know Mac has got huge streaming numbers, but do you know what I
But
mean? It's
still,
not going to
yeah,
be as it is for Dua Lipa or Ed Sheeran. It's a different world, and they
Yes.
know that their fans they're completists. They're going to want they're collectible items. They're going to want the vinyl, the different coloured vinyl. They're going to want, you know, my friend Mikey, who's a massive Kylie fan, buys every single coloured vinyl, you know, that she releases.
Really.
And I guess that's okay as well, because you artists like Dua Lipa are probably not going to do sort of same sort of take the same kind of care in the physical releases, or even have vinyl for every release. So
although it's how it makes things chart as well, isn't it? That's part of the reason like McCartney 3 got certainly into the top 10, maybe the top 5, was there were so many different editions.
Yeah.
That's partly how they drive that to get more interest and then make things sell more. So yeah, it's like people get very, I mean particularly in the US at the moment, and with the, you know, the threat of Trump coming back and everything, people have got very snarky about Taylor Swift and, you know, her boyfriend and stuff, who's, you know, a big American football player and the rest of it. And they get snarky about her, but she's an incredible artist and businesswoman. Again, what she has generated, she's a billionaire. And she's also not always had control of all of her releases and has re-recorded a lot of them and stuff. But my God, you know, she seems to be genuine. She's an artist. She's creative and she's doing a great thing, and people get very snarky about that. I don't really know why. People don't like people to be successful, but she's self-made. Like Kylie, like Paul, they're self-made people. That I would love to be in a situation where, you know, my art, such as it is, would solely make a living, your own generated thing, you know, your own product. And I just think sometimes, and particularly with the McCartney stuff, it is overpriced. It's even like when we talked about Now and Then, I forget how much it was now, but for a 7-inch single, it was good 30 quid at least.
Yeah.
And you think, really? You know, I know things are so much more expensive now, but I don't know, it's a shame, but it also means people don't hear songs like this, which, I mean, we've actually barely talked about the song itself. It's a really good, I mean, that was what was good about that double A side, 2 really good songs that came out of those sessions that would have probably lifted the album if they'd been on there. And in a weird way, because I do really like, for example, Despite Repeated Warnings on that album, it's a really good statement and it goes lots of different places. But in a way, I think this song does it kind of better. I don't really quite like the Never Too Late to Celebrate. I think that's a bit throwaway. But then I suppose the idea of the song is she's someone who overthinks, and now she's just, you know, releasing herself from it, which is a very him thing, isn't it? It's a very McCartney sort of trait, the sort of to dare. Probably the first time we mentioned this word in this episode, but optimism, which is a word that comes up a lot. But yeah, you just go, but I can't see why you'd put Caesar Rock, though. It's just rubbish. It's just rubbish. And this is like, you know, it was really well critically received by Rolling Stone and the like. You know, it shows that aspect of him, you know, that's always been there is still firing on all cylinders when he wants to. You know, it's a good song. And what do you think of it as a song?
Yeah, I think it perfectly blends together those kind of two sides of him. That sort of, like you say, that almost harking back to that 60s Sergeant Pepper, that sort of what you'd more kind of go, oh yeah, this is what Macca can do. But then that switch, that kind of switch bit, that where it kind of goes into a different mode, and that feels expansive and modern.
It's like a dream. And it's like a dream, isn't it? And the weird turnaround from like the bullying voices laughing to then her laughing. But has got a very modern. I think it's a Moog bass that Greg Kurstin, who plays on a lot of these songs, is playing against the other bass part that gives it that real sort of like almost brash, modern, a bit like Nod Your Head, which is not a song I like, but that sort of like you say, modern feel.
And I like the frenetic energy that comes through it. I like it. You get an adrenaline burst listening to it. Kind of almost feels like so it would have been a lot better choice.
To so many songs. They're like because it's quite as well funky when it's the dun, 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 with the brass and stuff. And it's really quite driving in places. It does, again, like we say a lot, but it does a lot in a very short space of time. I like Egypt Station as an album. Feels a bit overlong, like a lot of them do. People won't hear this song, and more people would have heard this song if it had been on that album.
Yeah,
and it is better than a lot of it. Yeah, and also it could sit alongside. So you've got another sort of story song on that album. You've got Back in Brazil, which again is one that some people might not like because it's kind of on the edge of cheesy, but it's very good. It's a very good sort of salsa-y thing that he's doing. That's, again, I like it when he does different things, particularly these days when he can be more pedestrian with some stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't really... I remember reading an interview at the time when, just after it came out, and Greg Kurstin said, oh, actually, there were so many songs from these sessions, we've missed off a couple of the ones that were my favourites, but they'll come out at a later date. And you just think, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it is better, isn't it, than a lot of the stuff? Or it's more energetic and more creative. And yeah, so it's a weird one, isn't it? That I wonder why it didn't get on there. I wonder what it was that maybe it was because of Despite Repeated Warnings being that sort of like mini operetta. You thought, not to, but why not?
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's more interesting than some of them. Like Who Cares? Again, that was a big single with like the video with Emma Stone and stuff. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that song, but the song's not great. It's a nice message. The idea of in the social media age, who cares? I do, but it's just a bit like a jam that, not even a jam like when we talked about I Want You to Fly, where you go, that's a really cool jam. That's a really, I just keep saying the word jam and I'm just thinking of like strawberry or raspberry or gooseberry, but we're now doing a jam podcast. And other condiments are available, but other conserves. But yeah, it just... I don't know. You just go, this is so much better than a lot of the stuff, and yet I like that you go, oh, his career is such. You go, oh, there's so many hidden gems,
so many things, yeah.
But how about push some of those gems a bit more published and take off some of the stuff that could do with being hidden?
Yeah,
I think I love I love the bass player. And I like it when he goes back. I know it's an obvious theme for him, but he doesn't do that so much now. Like that song, "See Your Sunshine" on "Memory Must Fall," which again is a bit of a throwaway song. But he was told by the producer, go all over, do what do that thing you do where you and it frees him up because these are the things that make him, give him more drive. And this is again going back to the live shows. I get that he does all the Beatles stuff, but it can feel quite pedestrian. Whereas something like this, he's clearly really engaged with it when he was making it. He was really enjoying it, and then he just gets released on a small limited edition release and disappears. So you just think it's that weird thing at odds where you got like the two different artists going on, haven't you? You've got the creative artist and then you've got the sort of live act, and the two don't meet, and it's all these songs get, he obviously likes recording still, but then they just get released to less attention and then disappear. It's weird. And I bet apart from the real sort of the people who really know his stuff, a lot of people listening to this podcast might not know this song because it's a bit of a hidden one. But anyway, I think we've said what we think about that, and the materialistic nature of the world we live in now. And when you're trying to write a book and the artist keeps fucking releasing new stuff,
I know,
and you're like, I can't have it. I can see that you can't have it come out with something missing at that point because it would make you. It'd be weird, wouldn't it? So maybe she's bullying you in a weird way. She's got one eye on you, one eye on her career, like Marty Feldman. But and that's the name of the thing I say today. But from there, we go to our final song, selection 8 of our I songs, and this is I Want to Come Home.
For so long I was out in the cold, and I taught myself to believe every story I told. It was fun hanging under the moon, heading into the sun. But it's been too long, now I wanna come home. Came so close to the edge of defeat, but I made my way in the shade, keeping out of the heat. It was fun shooting out at the stars, looking into the sun. But but it's been too long. Now I wanna come home. Home, where there's nothing but sweet surrender to the memories from afar. Home, to the place where the truth lies waiting. We remember who we are.
Open bracket, I want
Yes.
to, close bracket, come home.
So really, it's kind of called "Come Home," which is
Yeah.
it feels a bit weird. It's just complicating it for no reason, is it? And just as it's quite insistent. It's like, "Come home." It's like you're in trouble and your mum's phoning you saying, "Come home." But yeah, anyway, yes. Brackets, I want to, close brackets, come home.
Yeah, so this was featured on the soundtrack of the 2009 film Everybody's Fine. I don't know if you've seen that film at all with Robert
I
De
haven't.
Niro.
Have you seen it? Or?
I haven't seen it. I don't know if it was a huge hit. I don't recall ever even sort of seeing a trailer for it or anything. So yeah, starring Robert De Niro, Drew Barrymore and Kate Beckinsale.
It's kind of De Niro releases a lot of more sort of family films now than he used
these
to.
days,
and
yeah.
And as a result, it kind of got lost in, but yeah, it's considering it's got those people in it, particularly De Niro and Drew Barrymore. It's kind of surprising that.
So the film was directed by Kirk Jones, and this song was specifically written for the film, released in November 2009.
Yeah.
And so it was quite nice about it lyrically, sort of the lyrics conveying a sense of longing, homesickness, but some of so I think like the film's sort of narrative revolves around this father traveling to visit his estranged adult children, and I think the Robert De Niro's character is sort of getting over losing his wife. And I'd read something, I think an interview with Macca, basically saying, as he was writing it and trying to kind of get into that mode, he basically just, not the sort of estranged children part, but the kind of losing of the wife and kind of going through that.
And also just having families, when your children become a family of their own and you have to work around their availability.
Exactly. And sort of it ended up being less of a let me get into this character, I'm writing for a character in a film, and more about this was just him writing his own truth. And he had said that it was a cathartic experience, and he actually got quite emotional while putting it together. And yes, sort of it feels, again, form meeting function. The kind of melody is gentle and reflective. Again, vocally it sort of feels quite vulnerable, full of emotion.
Came so close to the edge of defeat. It's got that, definitely very sort of. It's kind of similar to I Don't Know in its own way.
I think, song structure wise is quite straightforward, isn't it? Sort of verse, chorus, verse structure. Really, I think doing it like that really allows you to focus on the lyrics. Allows those to be the sort of take center stage, if you like, the thing that we're focusing on more than how it sounds. But it does sound lovely. It's like an understated piano ballad, really, isn't it? It's sort of
with like cellos that sneak in. It's really nicely arranged.
Some sort of little string arrangement that doesn't pull focus, but sort of builds on the kind of weight of the song. I do like the middle eight sort of section, the sort of more I don't know if you call it a solo, but that kind of instrumental part is really nice.
And the sort of home where there's nothing but sweet surrender. It's got for being a simple sort of direct song, it does actually go to quite interesting sort of harmonic places. Again, it is very nice.
And it does what it sort of, I think, intended. What the director would have asked Macca for.
Yeah,
longing, nostalgia, the fact that he's singing it in his slightly older man voice works perfectly. Do you know, I would have, when I first listened to it, I did kind of think, I'm not sure that voice is doing it for the song. And then the harmonies came in, and I kind of went, that's how you get around that,
and also he's harmonizing with himself. So and it goes quite high, the second melody. So It's weird. It's a bit like his shows. I feel like the vocal kind of warms up because it feels, you're very aware of it at first being sort of the older voice, which makes perfect sense as well for the story. I guess it's an example of, the older version of him. But again, when his voice is in a quite good shape because it is quite melodic, you know what I mean? Despite being one of his more recent songs, which sometimes means that it isn't. But
the production is quite clean as well, isn't it? It feels quite, quite polished.
Yeah. And it's self-produced essentially, but with Jeff Emerick doing the engineering. So the old Beatles engineer who's been with him since the beginning. I mean, he's now passed away, but yeah, he was. And there was some talk at the time of him working on a sort of more self-produced at the home studio album around this time, and then various things happened, and this was one of the songs from it. So as a result, I mean, obviously it was used for the film, but again, it's a song that kind of got lost because it's not available on any album around that time. It's in like his recent singles box set and stuff. But yeah, it's another example of a really lovely little song that just kind of gets lost, forgotten. Really. Yeah. It was nominated for Best Original Song at the Golden Globes. It was also nominated Best Song at the Annual Broadcast Film Critics' Choice Awards, an award ceremony I watch every year. It did well. It was quite sweet because he did play it a few times live, and I saw him do it at the O2, which was one of the gigs. I think that was the year when it was supposed to be the Michael Jackson show that obviously was cancelled and other things were brought in. But it was quite a sweet bit because at this stage of his sort of stage outfits, he was wearing like suspenders and it looked good. I don't mean like in a sort of lingerie way. Braces.
Yeah.
And like he did a little thing where just before he played it, and it did sound really nice. And he said, "Oh, and I've been nominated for these awards." And he did a little like pulling his braces, like, "Yep, I've done something good," which was quite a nice little moment. But again, it's a really so this song I think could be on Flaming Pie. It could be on Chaos. It could be on even Driving Rain. It's something he does very like easily, but does very well. And also, you probably read because like you were saying about it was written to order for the film. But what the guy had done for the original cut of the film he sent him was because at the very end of the film, and Robert De Niro says, "And everybody's fine," or whatever it is. And as a placeholder, he put in Aretha Franklin singing "Let It Be," and he basically said, "I need you to write one of those." And Paul was like, "Apparently, I can't. That's not going to happen. Least of all, Aretha Franklin." But then he went away and thought about it. Went out for a meal, and then afterwards was noodling on the piano. And like you say, then the idea did come to him. And I guess it's a bit like At the Mercy, where you go as an exercise. He wrote the song, and in doing that and engaging that, it was a really interesting, lovely little song that I guess if the film had been a better known film, might have had more attention. But it's just again, it's a shame that this has not been like tagged. I get that like he doesn't like. It's a bit like when they released London Town. Mull of Kintyre was the single, and obviously that was a big smash hit. But he felt, and I kind of agree, it didn't sit with the rest of that album. So he left it off. Obviously, like the people, like we were saying earlier on about the money grabbing thing, would be like they were all saying the record companies, "No, put it on because people will buy the album because it's a big hit." But it's a shame in a way that this hasn't been tagged on to one of the albums around it where it could have been included, or if that album had come out that he was supposedly working on. Because again, it's just him on it, basically, aside from the strings and stuff. As we've said many times, he does that really well. He makes it feel like a very human sort of, like a band interacting when it's just him. Yeah, there's other than, I guess, the older voice thing, which again, you'd expect, there's nothing about it that I don't really like. There's nothing that, you know what I mean? It's a really sweet song, and it's just a shame more people don't know it. But then I suppose that's the point of podcasts like this.
Yeah, it's a little bit like This Never Happened Before. I mean, I know he didn't write that specifically for that film with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves and
Lake House.
Lake House, yeah, that's it. But it was used, I think, like right in the middle of the film, and then they played it again during the credits. I watched that film just as it was on, on TV one Christmas probably. I don't remember that being a huge film at the time, which is a shame because like that particular song, and I'm sure we'll come to it and cover it. Have we covered that? Did we do that when we did?
No, we haven't. We haven't done it yet. No, we've talked about it a fair bit around, but we haven't actually. Yeah, but because we like it. But yeah, absolutely.
That's a song I think everyone should know. I think it was like a promo single, was it, rather than a single?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. it's like a really crucial moment on that album, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's the heart of that album, I think.
But yes, hopefully the little corner of the internet that listens to this podcast will go, oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, like we said about I'm Carrying, and that's another example of, I don't think most people, if they like his sort of thing, they wouldn't question that as being a beautiful song if they heard it. If you said it was on the White Album or something, they go, oh, I don't know this one. And, you know, it's a shame because, and like I say, he's guilty himself of like not shining enough light on some of his own stuff. But then if you were a member of the Beatles, and that was the first 7 or 8 years of your career, you know, how do you compete with yourself? I guess you just do it for the people that like it and will find it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a shame that kind of gets missed. Yeah, and apparently this was the first original film song he'd released since 2001's Vanilla Sky, which is again another nice little song that was written for a film that was more successful, the Tom Cruise thing. But the song before that was 1985's Spice Like Us, which
I knew you were going to say that.
yeah, bring the thing right down at the end.
Yeah. A song that he was very proud of, bizarrely.
Yeah, even the director was like, I don't really like this.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's Paul McCartney. I can't say
no.
yeah, which is understandable, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. The other thing I might say is just as well, I've said this before, but a real theme for him, I think, is home. And it's a thing I've said before about how he uses that word, you know, like in Golden Slumbers, to get back home. It's just, it obviously means a lot to him, you know. It's nice that he can still sort of write those sort of honest, kind of direct songs, you know. That I mean, this is so different to like In a Hurry, the song we just talked prior to it, which again is a really good creative thing, but so different. It's just, he's so versatile, isn't he? And he just keeps going, really. I just wish he'd look after his voice.
I know.
That's the only thing. But says the man who doesn't do any warm-ups as much as he should either. But there you go.
I suppose I'm sure you would if you were singing for 3 hours, though, David.
That, to be fair, be fair. And I would have water. Whatever your age, let alone in your 80s, I'd have water. There's no reason not to. Other than they go, God, he doesn't even have a drink of water. I mean, if that's what you're watching the show for, my God, he's not even hydrated. It's just weird. I don't know, strange. So that's our 8 selections. I mean, you probably won't remember now because it's quite a long time ago, but can you remember any songs that didn't make the grade that you would have liked to have done? I know we said for not liking it, I think I Am Your Singer was one that we sort of considered.
Yes, I know there were a couple more off London Town as well, weren't there?
I've Had Enough.
That was it, yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good, interesting sort of, again, forgotten sort of rockier single that, It's Not True as well as another one we said that we both quite like, the B-side from the Press to Play era.
And wasn't there one that you shared that was quite jazzy, quite jazzy bluesy, not quite...
Oh yeah, one I didn't know before, in fact. It was I Wanna Cry, wasn't it? Was it that one?
That was it, yeah.
Which very nearly made the grade. Yeah, I quite like that one. It's like a good... It was kind of a better version of... Is it On the Way, the song on McCartney 2, the sort of bluesy thing. It was a much more convincing, like, slow blues, wasn't it? Yeah, so it's nice that even, you know, from our perspective, we still hear songs we've not heard and go... Oh, another one as well, just for kind of being interesting, is It's Not On. Do you remember that one? The sort of slightly quirky, weird Press to Play outtake.
Yes.
Not going on there, really. He's done quite a lot of stuff.
Yes.
In summary, that's our insightful fact for the show.
He's done a lot.
He's done a lot of stuff. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, spread the word. Like and review and share it on, Apple Podcasts or wherever you happen to listen. You can find us on social media, on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. If you type in McCartney ABC, we should come up. And if you want to send us an email, paulmccartneyabc@gmail.com. Or check out our podcast page on Podbean, which is mccartneyabc.podbean.com. That's the admin out of the way. Yeah, so thank you for listening to this. It's been nice to catch up and do this. And a lot of good stuff there, isn't there? I mean, there's no song that we've said we don't like, which is rare. I mean, I know there's a few we missed, but yeah, and it's another... If you wanted to look into his career and like you don't know about him and this is just like you just want an entry level, probably if you search these 8 songs and had to listen to them, you've got quite a good alternate sort of perspective of what he can do, I think.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to doing the J's.
The J's.
J?
Yeah.
Yes, J next.
I without looking it up, I tried to think earlier on just quickly what if there was anything that came to mind, and nothing does at the moment. But by the time we edit this, we'll know. But yeah, I look forward to doing that. And there's also a couple of episodes I'm looking forward to doing that we've mentioned privately that are more themes and things, because it's nice to do a mix, isn't it? But thank you for listening. As we say pretty much every time, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And we'll see you next time with this J episode, which would include songs such as this. The McCartney Alphabet is written and edited by David Ephgrave and Clary Sadler, and is inspired by and features selections from the music of Paul McCartney.